How's it going, guys? Hope you have having a good summer. Man, it's going by quick. But that means winter's right around the corner. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to putting the 146 lightweight back to stock, or as close as I can get, and getting it ready to sell. I wish I could keep them all, and this one especially so. It's probably been my favorite snowmobile to date. Everything worked really well. So I'm going to show you what was a huge hit and what was kind of a miss about this project. First thing I'm going to talk about is the rear skid, and it exceeded my expectations. The carbon fiber rails from Nextech really held up. My initial plan was to run the stock Ski-Doo rear suspension when I went jumping and stuff like that, but I kind of forgot it was in here and I just sent it anyway. Absolutely no issues. It was light, it held up to the abuse. Running carbon fiber rear wheels and that carbon fiber rear axle, absolutely no problems. Snow West did a really cool article on this snowmobile, and when my friend Tom Dines at Tom Snowmobile saw it, he's a Fox Shocks distributor, so he built me a set of shocks for the snowmobile with the lightweight project in mind. The rear shock has the QS3 adjuster, has a consumer valving in it, and it also has the new rifle board technology that Fox came out with. So it's really plush on little bumps, and that's kind of what air shocks lacked in the past. And it's an evol shock, so it soaked up the big hits really well. The center is just a normal evol, just a normal Fox float, not an evol, but it worked really well. And this sled wheelied everywhere, so I wasn't on the center shock a lot anyway. In the fronts, these are just the evol R's, no adjustment. He sent them to me revalved to match the rear. They're half a pound lighter than the Summit X shocks. That was a huge improvement, and it was a lot of fun to bolt on some more lightweight parts. A lot of tunnel modifications happened to the sled if you watch the first couple videos. Running the RS600 cooler and the RS600 subframe, and both turned out really well. Took a lot of time, got the right tools, and used the correct rivets, bolted it all together. It was really strong. We were using the snowmobile as normal. Mountain riding, getting it stuck, pulling on the rear bumper, never any problems. Sufficient cooling, surprisingly. I was a little worried about it. Even on hard pack, froze trails, never had a cooling issue. If the other sleds were getting a little warmer than usual, mine was, but mine wasn't any different than theirs. And when we rode this in conditions where it was meant in deep snow, it performed completely normal. The operating temps were just like a normal sled with a full cooler. This track really surprised me. This is the stock track off a 2018 Summit 850, so it's a 146 2.6, and it exceeded my expectations. This sled was phenomenal in the deep snow. It actually went way better than I thought. Maybe less traction, for sure less traction from a dead stop. That's where I noticed like a 3-inch 154 builds ground speed faster. But even when the snow was chest deep, this thing just cruised through the snow, and with the skis in the air, it was really nimble, easy to change directions on the side of the hill. I would absolutely do another 146 build again. This track works really well. So another cool thing, we're running the 5-gallon RS600 tank, and that was really neat. You could really feel the difference in the lighter tank, less fuel all day long. That was a huge feature. The mod seat from the Hill Climbers, that was really cool. And it just looks like a trick mountain sled. It looks like a race sled to me. Fuel consumption was not an issue. I packed gas on someone else's sled. All the new Ski-Doos come with 2 link brackets. So I just put my gas can on someone else's, made them pack the extra weight. Now on to a little bit of a miss. If you guys remember from the other videos, I found some really trick titanium hardware, and I lost fractions of a pound. I did it mostly for the bling factor. They look really cool. You can't tell when I'm riding it, but when I'm sitting here in the shop, people definitely notice this titanium hardware. One problem is, I didn't notice this when I put it together, but I can twist the nut past the nylock onto the bolt, and that was a problem. It came loose once. I noticed when I pulled on the ski, and I thought I forgot to tighten it, so I pulled the pipe out, tightened the bolt, and then kind of forgot about it, and one actually fell out right by the truck one day. Had to run back to the shop and fix it, so that was definitely a miss. My fault. I should have checked that and put a better nylock nut on it. Another miss I had As you remember, I was not running a front bumper. I thought it looked really cool. Jay Menneberry and Blaine Matthews, they don't run front bumpers on their mods, kind of where the inspiration came from. And I was getting comments on my Instagram stories. It was every branch I hit tore the screen off the front of this deflector, and that was definitely an issue. So I kind of built my own block off plate with some of that fake carbon fiber. Looked good on film from 20 feet away, not my best work. So the bumper is a grab handle, but it also keeps debris out of that frog skins material and keeps snow out of the belly pan. So run your front bumper. Another huge win in my opinion was this Mountain Valley Motorsports belt drive. I've been wanting to run one for a few years, and so this is a great project to do so. It freed up a lot of horsepower. I'll show you, it spins really easy, but it is also 4 pounds lighter. A lot of that is rotating mass as well. And I think it looks really cool, and a lot of snowmobiling is just looking cool. So I wanted it in raw. It looks lighter to me. Shot relocation bracket, turned out great, never had an issue. I bought a spare belt when I got this, never had to use it. Never adjusted it. I just adjusted it to MVM specs, and they told me maybe I might have to ride it a little different to save the belt, and like the rear skid, I kind of forgot about it, and I was smashing into the other side of creek bottoms wide open, jumping it, landing it wide open, and never had a single issue. Let me show you how easy it is to spin. I realize the track's really loose, but this is where all that horsepower comes from, just from that extra loss in rotating mass from the belt drive. You really see it in the driven. As you can see, I have the snowmobile all apart. I mainly do that to get it clean. I do this to all my sleds. Vacuum out the pine needles, check for issues, hardly ever find anything, but just give it a really good scrub down. I want this thing to look brand new for the new owner. As you remember, I was running this for an air intake. I deleted everything out of the hood, and it was considerably lighter. The air intake made contact with the pipe at some point, melted my little screen here, and I was going riding that day, so I just put the airbox back in the hood. That's the only thing I changed that probably added weight to the vehicle. And if I did this again, I would route this into the airbox cavity of the hood and separate it from the engine heat so we could prevent this problem. I just didn't want to suck snow or any debris from trees. And as you can remember, I switched to a RS600 handlebar, and I did that so I could run a lighter riser, that 3.7-inch riser. And by using this RS600 bar that's straight across, I maintained the same distance between the handlebars and the running boards. So when I jumped back to my stock sled, it felt exactly the same. But the Summit Expert bar has a little more sweep than the RS600 bar, so that was a little goofy switching back and forth. But after a couple miles, I got used to it. What I really missed about this bar is a small diameter grip that is stock on an Expert and a Freeride. And then I think going forward, I'm going to stick to this handlebar just for that small diameter. And that's kind of the rundown. And all in all, this was a huge success. It was a lot of fun to ride, most fun I've ever had on a snowmobile. So I'm going to continue to clean it up, put it back together, and get it ready for sale. And can't wait for my new sled to get here.
Make sure you guys like, subscribe, turn on those post notifications. Bye.